Hi, it's Megan. Let's reflect on the field of ACI now that I've reached the end of the semester in ACI 514. So, thinking about how to create a presentation about thoughts and sort of make a retrospective about my work in the class and the readings and everything that we looked at and talked about and examined, I thought it would be helpful to go back to that original paper, that Animal Computer Interaction Manifesto by Clara Mancini. So I revisited that. The first time I read it, I was really struck by like the ethical arguments in it, but having seen so many ACI technologies in the course, a reread kind of really, I saw it with a different lens, and I started to really hone in on the aims of ACI, which are outlined in this paper. And I really appreciated on like a final read at the end of the semester that the manifesto really describes ACI as like a design process that includes animals as users, technologies as like interventions, and then context. So just like HCI, ACI recognizes that we are designing things for animals, who they are, what they need, species, individuals, etc. We're creating technology, so we're applying knowledge of some kind to achieve goals for these animals. We're creating tools, technologies, approaches, frameworks, etc. But we have to be aware that all of this is happening in context. So we are working with animals to create technologies in different contexts. And so thinking about those aims, it kind of got me thinking about the way we look at ACI. If we're going to look at animals, create technologies, and understand contexts, the aims to me seem to kind of fit this concept of like we can look at animals as themselves and we can try to help them just for the sake of helping them and improving their lives in general. We can create technology that help animals become better tools for us, and we can create technology that help us to become better social partners with animals. So just kind of creating some shorthand for the aims of ACI. And then I thought, how am I going to do a retrospective? We looked at so much this semester. So I wrote down all of the technologies we looked at. I think I missed a few, but this is about, I think there's 40 on my list, 40 different technologies that we looked at in the class. And I tried to just kind of like card sort them out into these different aims. So if we're looking at ACI for animals just as themselves, what kind of technologies did we look at and what did they accomplish? So improving the welfare of companion animals in our homes and shelters, improving the welfare of wild animals, saving the lives of animals. And my thought here is that these are technologies that they save the lives of animals, they improve lives just for the sake of making the lives better. It's not necessarily because we humans are getting anything out of it, although we certainly might feel good about helping. And then technology for animals as tools. So improving the welfare of animals who entertain us, who produce or are products for us, who do tasks for us and work for us. You can think about animals as tools where we use animals to better understand cognition. So some of the studies we looked at deal with that. Some of the things we looked at, I think, are just pure entertainment. So the tool is we are entertained by using these animals in some way. And then technology for animals as social partners. So how do we use technology to create stronger relationships and better communication between animals and us? So I thought it would be fun to make like a tier list as well. So not only card sorting the technologies into these three aims, but also looking at which ones are of interest to me. So you can watch this as a separate video because this took me quite a while. But I sorted all of the technologies into a tier list to try to make sense of like what was really connecting with me, because we saw so many great things this semester, you know, what stood out to me. And that would be, I think, what ends up here in the S tier. Reading dogs' body position to understand their body language, the dolphin voice localizer, robo horse ears, connecting with orangutans, all the things you see here. And from that, I kind of realized that I guess you could have, shocked Pikachu face, you could have predicted this, but the technologies that really stood out to me are the ones that deal with design, right? I'm most interested in the technologies that deal with design and communication and that swirl around improving our relationships with animals. I'm less interested in like helping animals become better tools or products for us. So it makes sense. I'm an experienced designer. To me, understanding is like my starting point. If I'm going to design something, I can't design something for animal technology or context, or perhaps user technology or context that I don't understand, and I have to understand the goals of why are we doing this, why does the animal or person want this. It's like my currency. I always say understanding is my currency. It's like what I deal in, and my contribution to the creative process is understanding, like, the whys of everything. You can't design for someone you don't understand, animals included. So that ACI aim of fostering relationships by enabling communication and promoting understanding, that's what I've loved about this course. That's what's really, really stood out to me. And we see that in the technologies that you see listed to the right. And then I just think this makes sense to me too. I have a literature degree. My undergraduate degree is in literature. So I always kind of go back to literature, but understanding is not just a professional interest, or, like, as I say, like a currency of my professional work. I genuinely think reaching understanding with others is like one of the points of existence. It's something that you want to achieve. And when you can achieve it, I think that's really magical. And one of my literary heroes, John Steinbeck, encourages us to understand. I really like this quote. He wrote this in his personal journal back in 1938. Encouraged us to understand each other because understanding brings kindness. And humans are really lucky. We can write, we can say these things in our journals and then share them with others. That writing, that communication allows us to garner understanding. To me, literature is understanding. Reading stories is how you gain understanding. But animals don't have that technology. They don't write. They don't have languages to communicate with us. So if we want to reach understanding with them, how are we going to do it? And what I love about this too is, like, we are not just reaching understanding to do it. We're reaching understanding because understanding helps us to be kind to each other. And I think that we should be kind to animals. And I see this again. George Orwell wrote in 1984, "Perhaps one did not want to be loved so much as to be understood." This is a very famous quote. He saw understanding as perhaps even more powerful than love. And I almost fell out of my chair this semester when I reached the TED Radio Hour with Carl Safina. He says the same thing, right? My question for animals became, "Who are you?" So he's telling us we shouldn't be asking, do our pets love us, but rather, who are they? He encourages us to understand who we're here with. And I love that he points out that, like, we are animals. We share a lot of the same physiology and biology. So to think that we would be so different, we couldn't understand each other is incorrect. So loved that. And I was very happy to be introduced to Denise Herzing in this class. I actually didn't know about these technologies before the class, but I think she's doing the same thing. I find her work really inspiring. She's spent her whole life around dolphins. It's like she just wants to get to know them. There's not some grand theory of, like, oh, if we can get the dolphins to do X, it will teach us Y about ourselves. It's like she loves these animals. She wants to know what they're doing. She wants to know what they're thinking. And she's creating a technology that they can use to tell us those things. Her goal is just to understand animals and find out what they want from us. And I think this is a very cool technology as well, because I think it really opens the door. Like, AI, I think, has an amazing ability to fill in for our shortcomings. So, like, technology, why are we applying technology to animal contexts? Because it can fill in some of our weaknesses. We can't tell which dolphin is speaking, but we can build a technology that does that. We can't make dolphin sounds, but we can build a technology that does that. So really loved this work. So where does that take us in the future? I think there's going to be a huge interest in understanding more about why animals use technology. There seems to be this question of, like, intrinsic motivation. Why are animals doing things why are they using technology? A lot of the studies we've read, it's because we're forcing them to, or they get food for it. But a lot of the studies and technologies are exploring other reasons why animals use technology. And I'm really curious to find out what those reasons are. I think the future will bring us answers to those questions. And I would think ACI wants to know, what do animals want from technology, but also how can we measure whether we've delivered it? I think a lot about this paper, about the Saki monkeys, because the authors essentially wrote at the end of the paper, like, we don't know if this technology was successful because we don't really understand enough to know if the behaviors of the animals is showing us that they enjoyed it or didn't, or that they understood it or what. So an animal's spectrum of understanding might be very different from ours. I think ACI is going to work to fill in that gap. And I think that's where AI and other type of machine learning technologies can really help us fill in those gaps. I assume we have trouble understanding some animals because we don't have the same abilities, our same senses and modalities of experience, but perhaps AI can have those things and then explain it to us and help us come together on animals. Thank you.